I'd like to thank you, POW, and Amber. This opportunity was brought to me out of a discussion on Facebook. Like, what's your story? How did you get to where you are? How did you know who you were? So I wrote a short, very, very condensed version of this 10-page piece I have in here. And someone approached me with the opportunity to write for an anthology. And it's allowed me to view myself a little deeper than before, than just a memory. And writing for this piece has also opened my eyes to my own dreams that I'm pursuing in my writing and photography. So thank you. Yeah. This is a continuation of that short biopic I wrote on Facebook. So, all right. Preschool, 1985. I had to have been about 3 years old. I remember putting on my red and yellow plaid jumpsuit dress uniform in the mornings with my lace socks and brown Mary Janes. My mother would section my hair into 6 or 8s and braid those sections either 2 or 3 strands. She then accessorized each braid with the red yarn ribbon at the roots and a red beret at the ends. I was considered one of the cutest girls in preschool, so much so that after the photographer delivered the purchased packages of the individual portraits for each student for the parents to retrieve, the teachers and staff already had decided how many pictures would be left for my mother when she came to school to pick me up. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the attention, but I couldn't wait to hit the playground and try to play just as hard or harder than the boys. For that, I'd get fussed at for how dirty my cute uniform got and how I ruined my mother's hard work on my hair, not to mention how many barrettes I lost. I'd hear the adults mention amongst each other, "Nikki's so adorable, but then she'll go outside and play with those boys." First grade, 1987. I had been about 5 or 6 years old. I was still a little tomboy. If I wasn't the only girl racing with the boys during recess, I was the only girl playing kickball or the only girl gathering the caterpillars that would fall from the trees and stomp on all of them, coloring my shoes with the bugs insides. I don't remember anyone from my first grade year at this particular school, but I do remember this one second grader. I don't remember her name, but she had beautiful chocolate skin, a bright smile, curly hair, and sweet as gold. I never experienced this feeling before, and I didn't know what to do with it. All I knew was that I looked forward to going to school to see her in the morning and couldn't wait till the final bell to see her again, even if it was only 5 minutes. Since we weren't in the same grade, we only saw each other before and after school let out. Our mothers were both involved and active in the PTA, so it would be nothing for our mothers to recognize each other and make a special point to greet us and exchange hugs. One particular day, her mother had some errands to run and wasn't sure if she'd make it back home to retrieve her daughter on time. She asked my mother if she would mind giving her daughter a ride with us, and my mother couldn't hesitate to accommodate. As my mother gave me a kiss goodbye, she reminded me to make sure I get together with my friend immediately after school so she wouldn't have to look for either of us. I complied and got out the car. The words couldn't describe my excitement. During the day, I envisioned what I would say to her in the car or what we do when we got to my house. And I rehearsed many different conversations in my mind in anticipation that she would be in my personal space as opposed to 5 minutes on the front yard of school. I got very familiar with the clocks in school, trying to count how long until the final bell. And that final bell sounded, I ran so fast out of class, I think I was already outside before the bell could finish ringing. What was probably 2 minutes felt like an eternity waiting for her to come outside. I finally saw her and my butterflies circled so much, I could have sworn they were also in my throat. She smiled at me and I back at her, and I turned to look for my mother's car and spotted her. I motioned for my friend to come follow me when I saw her mother's car pull up right behind my mother's. I felt the butterflies drop in my stomach along with my smile. Apparently, her mother finished her errands in time to pick up her daughter and didn't need us. Her mother greeted me as usual. I remained polite, returned her greeting. My friend waved goodbye to me as she climbed into her mother's vehicle. I felt tears well up swell up as I secured myself in my mother's car. It became so overwhelming I started to cry. The more I allowed the tears to fall, the harder they came. I began to cry as I would when I was skinning my knee on the playground, but it seemed no amount of hydrogen peroxide could heal this pain. My mother was baffled and slightly upset. Girl, what's wrong with you? Why are you crying like that? And at the time, I was asking myself the same question. And I was hurt, but I didn't know why. And I knew I would look forward to her being with us, but was it enough to cry like this when it didn't work out? And I couldn't explain my emotions to my mother if I couldn't explain them to myself, so I chose not to say anything and tried to wipe my face with my sweater and stop crying. That was my first crush and heartbreak. There's 9 more pages here.
Nicolette came through another writer, right? Angela Lucas turned Nicolette on to me. And like I said, all this is online now. It's all on Facebook. And we all talking online. And I'm like, I'm a master social ninja. So for me, I gets it in now. And so Nicolette was like, well, and so she sent these really cute pictures. I said, Nicolette, I need some photos now to put in the book. And so she sends these cute little pictures. I gotta show y'all the photos, right?
Please show
See these pictures? This is her at 3 years old, right? I said, oh. And so this is when she got real confident, right? That's a confident shot, right? That's that, watch your drawers, yeah, that's a swag shot. So as, and I made this piece, her piece, the center of the book, actually, because I felt that it was a strong coming out piece. And it talked on so many different layers about her mom and how her mother related to each other and how close they were. And then she brought in Sugar Avery from The Color Purple, and her mom said, I shouldn't let you see that movie. You shouldn't have seen it. I shouldn't let you see that movie. That's why. This is why you are like you. So a lot of it I could relate to, right? And so I was like, yeah, okay. And so a lot of it I could relate to, and I said, okay, this needs to be the centerpiece of the book, because it was really one of the only coming out pieces that we had, because it's not lesbian 101, y'all. This is this is graduate school.